Greetings and welcome back to Doctor Who Revisited, where I go through every single episode of Doctor Who from 1963 all the way to 2023 and review them. And now we are on to the Pyramids of Mars. I really like this episode. In fact, I'm gonna go ahead and say it. It's my favorite of this season. First of all, whenever you take these real world gods and deities from our real life and just try to put them into the world of Doctor Who, have your own spin on it to say that, oh yeah, the Egyptian gods are aliens. Who knew? I love that. I eat it up. I don't remember if I reviewed all of the Moon Knight series when it came out, but not a fan. I was not a fan. Uh, I was. I felt like the way they portrayed the Egyptian gods in that show was interesting, but I wasn't very much of a fan of how the plot was presented. Let's put it that way. But be that as it may, the Egyptology inspirations in Doctor Who with the Osirians, billions and billions of years ago, even before the time of the Time Lords, these Egyptian godlike beings called the Osirians went to war with this one guy called Sutek and trapped him somewhere on Earth in a prison controlled by a pyramid on the planet Mars. I mean, the imagination of the story just knows no bound. I love it. I love the plot, and basically, this whole episode is just Sutek trying to escape his prison, and the Doctor and friends have to stop him. And I really like that. But from the beginning, let's get back to the Doctor and Sarah Jane in the TARDIS. For starters, I'm liking that the Doctor is now starting to contemplate his life so far. It's almost like an early signs of the Doctor reaching some sort of a middle-age crisis, even though he's only on his fourth incarnation. But then, of course, at this point, they haven't quite established the idea of 12 regenerations. So, as far as the audience is concerned at this point, they don't know that he's still relatively young on his journey, but still, 750 years, that's quite a lot of years. Now, how many of those did he spend on Earth? How many of those did he just spend wandering around the galaxy? Who knows? And I like that at this point, Doctor Who's gone on for so long that it's starting to become a bit nostalgic of the previous seasons, of its old self, of its classic self, if you will, referencing, of course, Victoria and Vicky, two black and white era companions, and comparing and contrasting that with the current Doctor Who companion, which is, of course, Sarah Jane Smith. Now, of course, mentioning the Brigadiers is just showing you how far Doctor Who has gone thus far, and of course, looking towards the future to show you how long the show is going to go on. Now, of course, we here already know how long the show's gone on. We already know what's coming, but it's nice that the Doctor Who writers are taking the time to put that idea out there in the world before returning back to the rest of the plot. Now, straight off the bat, this Sutek person instantly establishes himself as a major threat. Like, the guy's powerful. I mean, he can project himself into the TARDIS while in flight and divert the TARDIS's direction. Okay, that's a very good start. But then, of course, you get into the Servant of Sutek, which is a reincarnated corpse of the guy who died at the beginning of the episode, Marcus, I believe his name was. And he just kills someone by touching him, but then transforms back into the thing, into the real self. And oh yeah, there's mummies, because of course you can't have ancient Egypt inspired villains without going for mummies. That's really, I mean, that's kind of a given. Now, of course, it is pretty obvious that the sarcophagi are just props, not the best made, but I still appreciate the attempt. I think the sarcophagus that ends up being the portal, I think looks really good. But the sarcophagi that the mummies or the Osirian robots, whatever they're supposed to be, yeah, they may have could have put a little bit more effort, but I think they did the best they could with the budget that they had at the time and maybe the scheduling. I don't know, but yeah. So this episode just really focuses a lot on death. For those of you who don't know, Sutek is kind of the Egyptian god of death. I mean, going into a little bit into Egyptian mythology, he killed his brother Osiris and just chopped him up into little bits and scattered him all around the world until uh, Osiris's wife Isis had to find all of them and then stitch them back together. It's a whole other thing, but yeah. So Sutek is a representation of death. That's more or less where the name Satan came from. For those of you who don't know, so yeah, his whole thing is death, and you see that a lot in this episode. First of all, the guy Marcus dies, and then the reanimated corpse is running around, and also there's a bit of a resurrection and coming back to life in Egyptian mythology. That's kind of relevant, but yeah, he kills the previous servant of Sutek, and then just continues on to kill like everyone in this episode. I mean, just look at the facts. Everyone except Sarah Jane and the Doctor die, and I suppose Sutek in a way. But yeah, so every character in this episode dies, minus of course the Egyptian people at the beginning of the episode. But let's not get into that for now. But yeah, so the hunter guy dies. Not sure why he was even in this episode. He didn't really contribute much. But the two other guys in this episode, the professor guy and the brother of the guy that dies, I think the brother's guy was named Lawrence. To me, he's the standout character in this episode, mainly because of the performances of the actor. I mean, you really do feel that the guy wants his brother back. Like, I don't know what it is, but for some reason his performance, his facial expressions, and just how him constantly wanting his brother to survive. He wants his brother back, and there's that scene of just him and his brother, and he's trying to convince his brother of who he really is. And there's a little hint of a moment where the reanimated corpse of his brother is starting to remember who he really is, and that he's not really the servant of Sutek and is really a human archaeologist. And then he snaps back into the servant of Sutek and kills his own brother. That's tragic. That's really, really sad. And that's really, aside from the whole Egyptian gods and part of these episodes, I think this is as a B or maybe even C plot. That really hit me really hard. I don't know why. I do not have siblings, but I don't know what it is. It's just I was really, really particularly touched by that. So I really wanted to put a point on that, and then get back to the rest of the plot, because as for the rest of the plot, from the get-go, I mean, from the way the Doctor reacts, like as soon as he hears Sarah Jane say that someone projected the face into the TARDIS, like he switches into a completely different mode than we've seen from this Doctor. Like he knows something bad is coming, something powerful is coming, something that he knows he can't stop on his own is coming, and then he just diverts all of his attention to stopping it, even going so far as to snap at the other brother at times. But then again, there are times when he just calms down and tries to be the kind, attentive ear that the Doctor has always been. And I really like that. I really like how the way Tom Baker manages to balance these two aspects of the Doctor in this episode. And I really like how they continue to show the threat of Sutek without Sutek even doing much. I mean, he basically beat Thanos to the punch by a couple of decades of just sitting on a throne, doing nothing, and just everything that happens is he's controlling it with his mind. And we see how powerful he is just from doing nothing, just from sitting on a throne. Imagine what he could do once he gets freed. And just the journey to get to Sutek to finally release him from the prison. I like all those different riddles and different rooms. It's like not only just the Horus put a lot of effort into making it difficult for anyone who's crossing the prison to try and free Sutek. But also, it really it feels like the writers and set designers had a lot of fun designing all those different puzzles and different rooms to reach Sutek. And once the Doctor actually finally reaches Sutek, like, all hell breaks loose. I mean, the Doctor distracts him from holding back the thing, and then Sutek just completely takes him over. Like, again, he's not doing anything. He's just sitting on a throne doing nothing, and he puts the Doctor through hell. Like, we as Doctor, I mean, we're kind of used to seeing the Doctor as like this unstoppable, unbeatable force, and then someone like Sutek just brings him down to his knees with just the power of his mind, and essentially makes him a puppet. And he takes over the Doctor's mind at one point, makes the Doctor his puppet slave, subjecting him to his will, and there's nothing the Doctor can do about it. That's terrifying. That's how you build a proper villain. Sutik is easily a top tier, one of the most powerful villains the Doctor has ever had to face, and he still beat him. But yeah, just the presence, the intensity of Sutek, the design of the mask, the design of the costume, and yes, the once this face, his true face is revealed, it looks kind of ridiculous, and definitely a product of its time with the budget they had. But that doesn't matter because the rest of the performance of Suchik already establishes him as the powerful and S tier villain he is. Not just with how powerful he is and how he asserted his dominance over the Doctor, but also Gabriel Wolf's voice performance of Sutik. Like, it would have been so easy to give him this loud, rough supervillain voice, but no, Gabriel Wolf went in a completely different direction and made him calm, cool, collected. Like, he's not too bothered. He can easily kill the Doctor whenever he wants to. He can cause him as much pain as he desires. He knows he can destroy the universe with a thought. He can destroy any planet he wishes, and so he's patient. He's biding his time, despite being trapped in a pyramid for 7,000 years or something like that. And it's weird. It's a weird bit of a contrast when you consider that Gabriel Wolf was also the voice of the Beast from the Impossible Planet and the Satan Pit. Put that into perspective for a minute. And you know what else? He's still alive, and he's still voicing Sutik on Big Finish. So yeah, this is definitely an iconic villain, and yeah, definitely a standout from the Fourth Doctor's era. And I love how the Doctor basically stops him by rigging up a piece of the TARDIS and using it against him. And it's a piece of the TARDIS that was mentioned in the first episode of this serial, and sort of traps him like in an in between universes. I really like the Fourth Doctor's ingenuity there. And yeah, so I think I just said about all I need to say, all I can say about this episode. I really like it. It's definitely one of my favorites of the Tom Baker era. And as I mentioned in previous reviews, the Tom Baker era is kind of split into half and half, like some of the greatest of all time and some of the boring snooze fests. This is definitely one of the greatest of all time, and I always look forward to revisiting this one whenever I do a Doctor Who rewatch. So, yep, these are my thoughts. Thank you for watching. If you have, let me know what you think about this episode, and let me know if Sutik is one of the characters you want to see come back, make a return in the new Doctor Who era, or maybe just just the Sirens, all the Sirens. They need to come back, in my opinion. Let me know what you think about that. And I will see you some other time. So until the next one, everybody, kneel before the might of Sutek. Hi there. Thank you for watching the video. And if you enjoyed it, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and tell your friends. I'll see you next time.